Hey all, this is the last of three sequencers that I was building. The first was cosplay, then sit and spin, and now this is KleeNext. So what is KleeNext? It's based on a Eurorack module that inspired me. It's a Klee sequencer, which is basically this idea of adding together notes to create new notes. Let's figure out how to explain this because it's kind of complicated, confusing, a little weird. So what we have going on is a timeline. These are 16 steps, and down here, this will be the incremental steps with the notes. So as we can see, let me just start the sequence. We'll just have one bit. This controls the amount of notes that are being triggered. So we'll just kind of start with 1 and C2. We're at a major scale, and so when 0 is played, that means that there's no note, and you go negative, and it'll go 2 steps below on the C major scale based on this root note, or we go up. So we'll just stick with this. And so we're just getting this one trigger. Now, if we add another bit, and I'll explain when I define these boxes by bits, I'll explain that in a second. But so what this is this idea of kind of this bit is in the future. So this is kind of like the downbeat. This is actually the triggered note, and this is where we are on the timeline. And then all of these other notes are going to be kind of in the past, but they are the things that are defining the pitches maybe being summed together and all this. So at any rate, so as this goes, we have this trigger, and then that's how we're getting these two notes, is because of this this timeline of this. Now, right now we just have one note, so it's just going to be C2 on both. And so now we're going to add an extra note. And so I'm just going to mute this and explain that in a second. So we're just going to focus on this. This slider is a way for you to see how the notes interact with one another. So if we put this on this note, we know that this note is going to affect this note. So we can do this muting above it, in which what happens is this note will then not be added to this note, and that's hence we're back at C2. So if we add this 3, we're going to go up 4 steps, and now we're kind of at the F. So this is a way to add notes or bits and everything, but then kind of control it, which is something that's really, really nice to be able to just not throw a bunch of sliders and you're just kind of left with whatever this sequence is. If you wanted to fine tune it, you totally can now with this kind of functionality. Part of the problem with this, as far as complexity, is just say we mute all of these things. This little M gets green as well, but then if we start moving to other notes, we don't see that this note is completely muted. So you can kind of get in the weeds about where things are muted and where they aren't. So, you know, this is easily slidable, so you can kind of quickly do a reference, or you can just kind of see if this changes color to know that some of these notes may or may not be being added together. And so then down here, this is a master mute. And so this just, no matter what happens up here and through all this, you're gonna be able to just mute these notes. So as an example, we'll go up here, we can just start randomly triggering. So we can just, if we like that pattern, the rhythmic pattern, we can just set these kind of master mutes, and then if we want to change notes, or if we want to start adding bits, this rhythmic pattern is still going to stay there. So this is a really nice way to kind of have some control over something that is kind of, it's not really random, but there's a lot of interactions going on, and so all of these things can get really confusing or just complex and really hard to know the outcome, which makes this so much fun and a lot more interesting than just putting notes in a timeline and all that kind of stuff. So just to explain some of the dials, would be root note. This is a scale which is, we have 12 notes from low to high. And then with this random, 50% of the notes, you can control the amount of steps. So 50% of the 16 steps are going to be triggered. And it's randomly deciding which ones they are and all that. So you can go up to 100, you can go down really minimal. And then note range is the amount of randomness between the 12 steps, or 24 steps. So you can do the 100% of the range, or you can kind of minimize that. So one of the other things has got a duration, which is a little interesting. Right now it's set to 16 steps. So it's just being triggered with an envelope of that duration. As we move up, things get sustained. So this is not a 16th note anymore. It's 3 times that, and it's being held over to the next note. So this would be an 8th note instead of a 16th note. So that's at 100%. You go back down to that, and then we get at 16 based on that, and then it gets really plucky, and it goes down to very minimal kind of triggering. So this is just a nice way to be able to manipulate your synth in a universal way. And then we have swing, this typical swing, and this also has bass, which is the multiples of this. So since we're using 16 steps, it's the bass is 16, but if we change steps, we can also change the bass. We also have a delay. This delay is a little quirky in that from positive and negative, from 0 up to kind of like 40, it's really, really subtle. It's hard to tell what's kind of how it's moving, which is really nice for really subtle groove deviation. But then it goes extreme to the next step. I don't know necessarily if you'd need it, but it's there. Velocity, it's just a random velocity. The higher it goes, the more it will go to 0 as far as quiet. This is the division of the sequence, so it's set at 16 because we have 16 steps. We can go a little lower and go to like halftime, that kind of stuff. This little button right over here, this is creating a drunk to the sequence, which means that it will waver back and forth from going forwards to backwards. The higher the percentage or number, the more probable it will be to bounce back and forth. So this kind of gives a little bit of a stuttery sound, and you can basically create a completely new melody just from this Drunken Walk kind of situation. So then going over to the bits, I was going to talk about this. The bits is based on, this is, so we have 16 steps, 16 slots. It can either be a 0 or a 1, and so this is pretty much what binary is. So when you convert this binary of 0s and 1s, you will get this number. So it's a quick way to, if you wanted to just memorize certain bits that you like, you could just type in a certain pattern and then bang, it's right there, as opposed to having to click on things and et cetera, et cetera. So that's what that's about, and we got a random of, so we have 3 triggers that we'll be randomly triggering. You can do more or less. You can also rotate the bits, and so you can have a pattern and then rotate it a little bit, and you get a different melody from this. So it's a nice little variation of melody generation. You can click on this, and the random will also rotate, or also randomly create different rotation as well as the bits. So you can do both, or you can just do the bits and keep them locked. And then we go over to this area for presets, and so we can save 8 different patterns. We can, we'll just clear this, we can save this, trigger this, go over here, save again, go to recall, and this will just recall. I have this kind of set up in a clunky way so that you don't accidentally erase any presets or whatever, so you really have to go to recall to be able to recall the presets, but you're not going to be erasing anything either. So that's what that's all about. And then we got Klee and then Next. And so Next is the next version of this kind of sequencer. And what this allows is a form of ratcheting. So so this is going to stay on this step for 5 steps. And so as we can see right here, this goes away. So it's a little confusing on reading the timeline. So we have this timeline still going. This is the melody. These are the notes that are actually being played. But this is staying on this note right here for 6 steps. And it's being generated based on these bits. We can hit the N, and then we can get to different rhythmic patterns. And so it has 6 steps, but it's only hitting this once. It can hit all 16, or all 6, I mean. It can alternate. It can do a 1 on, 2 off, 1 on, 1 off, and then repeat. And then that, and then we have random. And so looking in here, when you click on random, it creates this pattern and it's locked. That's just the way that it is. If you go back, we can go and we can hit it again, and then it'll create a different pattern. Or we can get to hit R, and it will be generating different patterns all the time. And this obviously affects all of these other notes that are around it too. So it's a way to create a lot of variety. And that's about it, I think. Pretty much. If any questions, I might have some other videos. There's always the manual that has absolutely everything spelled out, and hope you like it, enjoy it. This was a little bit of a hassle making, a labor of love, and I hope you have a lot of fun and enjoy it. All right, thanks a lot. Take care.